Okay, so boom. You finally realize the power of emails and owning your own data. So you create a newsletter and get a landing page fired up. You send out your first email and bloop, it's in the promotions folder. Unless you're an e-commerce company, I'm sorry to tell you, but the promotion folder is not going to help you. This is why you should get ConvertKit. ConvertKit specializes in keeping your email in the primary folder so you can increase your open rates and communicate with your audience. They also have beautifully designed landing pages and squeeze pages for you to capture more emails. I personally love the fact that they have good support. Support from you is everything. If I have a problem, I need to know I can get someone on the line or have a video that answers all of my questions. Hustlers don't give up. They say, yo, let me figure this out. I figured it out with ConvertKit. And let's start the show. Hello and welcome to the Hustle Over Everything podcast. This is the podcast where you receive stories, tips, and strategies from entrepreneurs who've done it to help you grow your business and take yourself to the next level as a person. Today we have Mario Armstrong in the building. Mario is a two-time Emmy winner and clear, purebred entrepreneur. Yo, I'm excited to get into his business. He has a production company. He has a motivational speaking company. He has a lot going on, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys. Owen, bro, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, bro. There's a lot of things that have happened this week, and I'm super excited to get your take on it, just to like see how you feel about it. And that deal is the Jay-Z deal, selling half of his Ace of Spades to LVMH. For all you guys who don't know, LVMH is a company that owns like Louis Vuitton. They're luxury house. They own a bunch of different brands that fall under the luxury business. Louis Vuitton is one of them. They also own a bunch of other liquor brands, and Jay-Z just sold 50% of Ace of Spades to Bernard Arnault, who's the founder of. His dad was actually the founder of LVMH, but it's a family-run business. It's a legacy business, and they're continuing on that. But yeah, man. I mean, when you heard about this deal, Al, what do you think?
I thought it was peculiar. I thought it was very
That's
peculiar
peculiar, eh?
because uh, Rihanna and Fenty LVMH just paused. You know what I'm saying? In February 10th, like around there's a news story that broke about Rihanna's Fenty Beauty taking a pause with LVMH. I know it's they kind of announced it very low key, you know. I'm guessing it's because of the pandemic, but yeah, that was very interesting. But then they moved from Rihanna to Jay-Z, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. Either way, though, like big move on Jay-Z's end. That means they're gonna have a ton of distribution, a much stronger marketing force behind them. LVMH, the M and the H stand for Moet and Hennessy. So you already know how big of a powerhouse those two brands are. So what it looks like is it's gonna be distributed through their uh, distributors, of course, to all the retailers that they have on deck already. Because yeah, Ace of Spade was more so of a club drink, right? So now you should be able to accessible to people all overseas, here in Canada. Like I never see anybody drinking Ace of Spade. Have you?
No, never. I don't even know where to get it.
Exactly. That's the thing is that distribution. I think that's what the deal is because the brand's already there. The branding is heavy, but the distribution's lax. So now that he has that, he can really take over and create like a multi-billion-dollar empire with this alcohol brand. So yeah, man, I think it's a solid move. I think it's gonna be
Bro,
super impactful. You should pop a
man, but
Bel Air
just like
bottle for him.
even just studying LVMH's like brand portfolio, like it's insane how much brands and subsidiaries the LVMH has. I mean, like looking at it, they span from wines and spirits, fashion, perfumes, watches and jewelry, even retailing. Bro, like what Hublot, Tag Heuer, Tiffany and Co, Bulgari. What's another one that stands out here, man? Belvedere. I didn't know they owned that one.
Hmm. Do you
The
think it's
big one.
a? Do you think? All right. So talk to me. Do you think it's a mutually beneficial partnership? Do you think it's like? Do you think anybody has more leverage than the other?
Like from reading about him, bro, like I feel like so the reason Jay Z started his Ace of Spades is because one liquor owner, I think I forgot what the drink it was, but the founder of that drink came and said, "I don't like rappers promoting my drink. I
Cristal.
don't like Cristal, right?" Like Jay Z used to rap about Cristal all the time. It's just like, yeah, I don't like rappers owning my drink or promoting it. It's not really for that hip hop. He kind of saw like the hip hop community as low class, and he wants like the Hamptons type of individuals to be repping his drink. So Jay Z, being Jay Z, he's just like, yo, bun you, like I want to go do my own thing. So I think for him, this is more vindication for Jay Z because he was looked at as an individual who's just like, you don't belong in our class. And now he's teamed up with LVMH, which is like one of the most powerful luxury conglomerates in the world. You know what I'm saying? So
For
50
sure.
for 50% LVMH is going to boost that all the way up to like even be more of like close to $1 billion brand. Because I think what the worth of from what I'm reading here, Cristal was valued at like around like under like $500 million, just under.
That's hilarious. So
You know what
Jay
I'm
Z,
saying?
yeah, yeah, it's such a classy move.
Classic move, and the way Jay Z moves, everyone needs to study the way because he's a business. When he says, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man," right? All the moves he does, even reading right now, he's doing another move where he's creating an app which can boost the financial literacy of the Black community so they can increase their credit scores. It's amazing what he's doing, man, and LVMH, bro, like that. LVMH is gonna take Ace of Spades and run with it and double the value of it. And Jay Z will. I won't be surprised if we see Jay Z become. I know he's a billionaire right now, but being a $2 billion net worth in like 3 years, I will not be surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm anticipating him selling title. Um, I see that happening with that play, or I think he might sell it to Jack Dorsey as a move. This shooting blanks. Predicting the
Shooting
future. You
blanks,
never know
bro.
how that
Hoping
go.
something
But
sticks, man. But
exactly. Um, and overall, though, man, like I think it's a solid deal. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see Ace of Spades and LCBO. And be able to just pick it up when we want to celebrate something. Like do we Canadians have a celebratory drink, or is this whatever wine bottle that can pop, like whatever champagne bottle that can pop?
I'll speak for myself. I think as I get older, I'm getting more sophisticated with the type of bottles I pop. Before, like in my college days, I used to just, hey, like pick a bottle of Bambino, which has always been my celebratory drink for my birthday. I call it the champagne campaign, right? And I take a bottle of Bambino. That's what I was doing since Ryerson. But now we're moving up. We got Bel Air is one thing I knew about, but you really got me into it recently. And I can't really think of any other ones that are celebratory other than the ones that like we currently know. Like I mean, as well too. Like our price range has to increase,
Most definitely, because that Ace of Spades is not going to be cheap at all.
bruh.
You know,
Not at all. That's
it's
something
going
you
to be.
hold up in the cellar and wait for those big days, man. You got like an investment deal. You bring the Ace of Spades up.
That's a fact. That's a big fact, man. So speaking of sellers and success, let's get to the business tip of the week. You know what I'm saying? And I have an update on mine because last week we spoke about Canva being a easy way to have your link in bio be more appealing. But I found an even better way that's actually black owned and better. So if you don't already know, you should check out easytree.me. That's E, letter E, letter Z, tree, TREE.me. Man, this website has been great. It's way better than Linktree and better in Canva in terms of analytics. Canva is still better in terms of imagery that you can leverage and customize yourself. But this platform allows you to have a great link in bio where you can add imagery, you know, email capture form, which is huge. Um, your actual playlist. You can actually embed a Apple player, a Spotify player into your link in bio, so people don't even have to make another click. Once they get to your link in bio, it's just right there. That's like super valuable. It's the small things like that that can make a big difference in your conversion rates. You know, you can also have imagery to your merch, and other things like that. So I think it's a great platform if you're looking for a quick link in bio to have a better conversion rate. A lot of people are now leveraging QR codes. EasyTree would be good for that as well, where you can just have somewhere that you can get a good bio, and direct people to the right link. So easytree.me, EZ tree.me is a great platform. We switched to it so you can check out our Instagram at 24/7 Hustler and see how we've used it ourselves. And we got to get her on the podcast, man, because it's a black owned business. We got to get her on the podcast and talk
Also,
about her
black
story.
woman too.
Black woman owned, exactly.
Yeah, which is big. It's inspiring to see that, bro.
Most definitely. And Linktree, and listen, I looked at their Instagram. They have like 3,000 followers. Not even like barely 1,000 followers. And
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
checked out
damn.
her. Check out her Instagram. She just looks like an auntie, bro. You know
She
what I'm
looks like an
saying?
auntie, no shade. This looks like a regular, not regular, like an everyday black woman. And that was really
Yeah.
inspiring to see because Linktree is such a big business. Linktree has over 2 million monthly users. They just got an investment of $10 million. So that's powerful. If this product is better than the one that has everybody on it, listen, we have the power and the influence to make this a lot better and get her that money. And hopefully that money could recirculate into the community. So, um,
Absolutely.
yeah, guys, make sure you check that out. Make sure to support. And let's get into the Hustle Nation, man.
Guys, exactly, man. Let's get it, man. So you already know what time it is. It's that time of the hour for the Hustle Nation tip of the week. It's here, Mr. Hustle Muscle, ready to give you that Hustle Nation. So today, guys, we're talking about squirrel syndrome. So what is squirrel syndrome? Squirrel syndrome is when you lose your sight of your core goal and you start focusing on other things. You begin to look for the next bright, shiny object to chase. So, why do they call it squirrel syndrome and how does it relate to entrepreneurship? So, when you look at squirrels, they have this severe ability to focus. They often dart back and forth, doubting their decisions and able to choose a direction. And squirrels have something to teach us, which is what not to do. So this Hustle Nation was inspired because I came across a business this week I wanted to start about a year ago, and I just realized that someone had launched it. And it gave me this feeling of wanting to go ahead and do it. And, maybe not even do it, but just to test it out in the market. But I had to stop myself and remind myself of all the times I did that, and it cost me a lot of money. And squirrel syndrome is something that's happened to me so many times that even speaking about it right now is bringing me back some pain. So squirrel syndrome is something all entrepreneurs experience. As entrepreneurs, we have a wave of ideas and we want to share them with the world, and we're always comparing our current businesses with other ones that don't exist. We're thinking that the other idea could become our big idea. And I've come to realize this syndrome creeps in on you when you have a lot on your plate, and you're looking for a fantasy escape. You see a business you admire and you want to be in that industry as well. It could also be procrastinating on a major task, and the idea of starting something new and going through that beginning process of that shiny new object takes a hold of you and you want to go down that path. So I wrote down some 3 tips on how you can curb this squirrel syndrome. And the number one thing you can do is focus on activities that create results. So focus is one of those basic but critical habits you need to master if you want to be successful. So improving your focus on your day-to-day basic business activities you do best and from which you produce extraordinary results. If you don't, you'll create high stress levels and may experience burnout. And when you spend most of your time and energy doing the business tasks you're brilliant at and allow others, to do the best, you reap your biggest rewards. Number 2 is multitask mindfully. The key to multitasking is to do it strategically and mindfully. Mindful multitasking means that you check in with yourself and determine how you need to focus in each new situation. Mindful multitasking allows you to stop reacting to distractions, such as the automatic reflex to answer the phone or read that incoming text. It also allows you to focus on the actions that provide the best results and disregard everything else. After you set your intentions for the day, create a to-do list that you can tackle using mindful multitasking and allowing yourself to be present in each action you take for the day. Number three, focus on developing one big project at a time. Don't try to start multiple projects at once. I did this way back, and I wasted a lot of my time and a lot of my money, and it was a big learning lesson for me to move on forward to build on success. So don't try to start multiple projects at once. What this does, it fragments your focus and times. Entrepreneurs are creative people. We often have many good business ideas, and it's hard turning off that desire to act on multiple ideas at one time. But if you split your attention between more than one big project at a time, you'll run into trouble completing anything at all. You're going to need all your energy and focus to get your one new product off the ground. And by working these three tips that I just explained, you're going to find yourself extremely focused. And when you focus on one thing, your focus grows. And when your energy grows in that, your project is also going to follow that same energy and grow as well. So guys, I know us all entrepreneurs have squirrel syndrome. We have a wave of ideas. We have so many ideas in our notebooks that haven't even seen the light of day, but it only takes one idea to really get your entrepreneurial dreams off the ground. So just focus on that one thing, go all in on that, make that successful. Then you can look at the next thing. But once you spread your energies really thin, it's going to be a hard time creating the success you want. And that is a Hustle Nation tip of the week, guys. Let's get it. Let's get into this Mario Armstrong podcast. He's going to give you the juice you need to start your Monday right. And guys, that is a Hustle Nation tip of the week. Ow.
Yeah, that's a solid tip of the week, man. Squirrel syndrome is so real. Happens to all of us as entrepreneurs. One thing I want to add before we jump into the housekeeping items and into the podcast. After the podcast today, there's going to be a Clubhouse conversation, a post-podcast Clubhouse conversation. So make sure you tune in, and whatever you want to talk about tomorrow after the podcast, tune in on Monday at 8 p.m. on Clubhouse. You can find the details on our Instagram. You'll post everything at 24/7 Hustler. And yeah, let's just tap in.
And by the way, Al, I also want to congratulate you for joining the platform. It's been a long journey, but I finally got that follow from you, Elevated Lex. I think that's your username. And I'm like, right, it finally happened.
I'm finally on there, man. Finally on there.
Yeah.
So y'all got to tap in with me. Come tap in, and speak to Mario, speak to us. Converse and learn, man, and take advantage of it. If you're getting all this information and not taking advantage of it, you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice, as my guy Rashad would say. So, yeah, man, let's jump into it.
Let's go.
Hey, what's up, guys? To support this show for free, here are some main options. If you're on Apple, make sure you rate and write a review of our podcast. This makes a huge difference and helps support the show. If you're on Spotify, follow us. If you're on Google Play, hit subscribe and auto-download so you'll be notified and have a fresh pod ready to go when we drop. Lastly, make sure you share the podcast on Instagram or whichever social platform you use and tag us. On Twitter, we're at 24/7 Hustlers. On Instagram, we're at 24/7 Hustler. And on Facebook, we're Hustle Over Everything. And now, guys, gotta pay attention to this point. We just dropped a new newsletter. It's called The Underrated. It's a weekly newsletter that breaks down untold stories that highlight game-changing business strategies that shape our sports, music, and culture. It drops once a week on Mondays, early in the morning, to prep you for the week. So subscribe to that, and we'll see you in the pod. Guru, turn me up in the headphones. All right. Mario, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yo, fellas, it's really good to be on with you. Alex, what's up? Owen, what's up? It's good to be on, man. We're here. We're here, man. Hustle over everything.
Yes, indeed.
Let's
You
go.
know, the energy's here. I'm ready to get to it. All right, so, you have an interesting story,
Yeah.
Man, creating the Never Settle Show, winning an Emmy more than once, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Creating a whole business, being the founder and the talent. All right, where does this start? Whereas being on ABC your first foray into media?
No, it was actually NBC was the network, but it wasn't my first foray into media at NBC. I actually started in the local market in Baltimore, where I'm from.
Okay.
And that's usually what a lot of people, they miss those steps, right? Like, we like to reward the prize over the process. And everybody sees like the shiny objects, like, oh, he's got 2 Emmys. Oh, he's on NBC The Today Show. Oh, he's doing like podcasts and all these interviews. But really, it all started by like actually calling up the local station in my local hometown, Baltimore City. And I was like, hey, I'm doing this radio show. I'm doing this podcast like thing. I want to come over to TV and do it once a week. And by the way, you don't even have to pay me. I'll do it for free. And it was a whole game that I was playing because I was really trying to get the experience of what it would be like to be on live TV, because I had these visions of where I could take the vision and vision of where I could take the whole dream. And that was to be on in New York, be on in LA, to be on in major markets on national TV, because this is going back like 10 years. So like I wanted to be on national TV, but I was like, you got to build up the skills somehow. So how are you going to build up the skills? So I knew I had the gift of gab. I knew I had a communications background, and I knew that I could speak well and that I could excite people. But my expertise at that time was about technology, a little bit of entrepreneurship, and really about like personal growth and development, like motivation and inspiration. Like those are my 3 things that was my trifecta. So it all started with a phone call. It's a process that I call from free to fee. So many people need to be thinking about like, where can you go and work for free so that you can pick up the skills that you actually need, even though you have a day job, even though you got other responsibilities, even though other things are happening. Where can you actually just call and be like, hey, I want to work for you for free. And here's the value that I can bring. Here's the amount of hours that I could actually work for you. Here's what I could actually do. And then you know what you're going to get in return. For me, I knew I was going to get the ability to learn what it was like to be on live television, live news, to know what it's like to only have 2.5 minutes to make my points, to know what it's like to have somebody in your ear saying, wrap it, 15 seconds, go into a commercial break, like look to your left, camera right, like all these things that I didn't know about. I knew I needed to get those skills in the practice field, in the local stations, so that I could build up going to the pros.
Ah, amazing. That's so true. Wow. Like Kanye West, when he was Kanye West, before he was Yeezus, before he was Yeezus, interned at high-level fashion labels to get experience for free. Him and Virgil Abloh.
Yeah.
And look how that turned out. And they were both prominent figures at that time.
Right, right.
So it's having the humility to say, hey, I don't know yet and I need to learn. That gem goes over a lot of people's heads. I've done it too. I've interned at multiple places, worked for free multiple times, taken the long route, walked to get the check instead of being like, hey, can you call me? Or here, can you send it through e-transfer? Those small, things that don't scale, make a strong impression on you.
Yeah, I just want to say you dropped a bar on us from free to fee.
Yeah.
I've never heard about that before, man. Like, did you coin that yourself?
Actually, I did. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know if someone else is using it. They shouldn't be, but yeah, that's something I came up with because it really was. It really is a tactic. It's a strategy. And I think if you start to apply it and really start to think about it, it removes the one thing that becomes a barrier. Usually 2 things become a barrier. It's ego and money. Those are usually the thing. So if you can, like Alex said, if you can humble yourself and understand that you don't know everything. And so the game is like, see, a lot of people get into a situation and they feel like they're getting used. But it's like, are you feeling like you're getting used because you're not getting the money that you should be getting? I get that. But then my question to you is, well, how are you using them?
So how were you using them?
Yeah.
Well, I knew my situation. My situation was I didn't have the skill set. So I knew what I needed to be able to get onto live TV. So I removed the money out of the equation. I could have said, look, I got this podcast, I got this radio show, I got these other credentials. And I could have been like, and look, I want $150 every time I appear. They may have said yes. They may have been like, get out of here. I didn't want any possible objection getting in the way because I knew what I needed was way more than what they were going to ever be able to pay me. And so what I'm saying is a lot of times, even in the jobs or the careers that we're in, we got people right now that are listening to this that are feeling like they're in a position or in a career where they're getting taken advantage of. And that could be financially, like, yo, they're not paying me enough money. And my question to you is, I get that. I get that. So my question to you is, well, then how the hell are you using them? If they're using you, how are you using them? And if you're not going to use them, then how are you using them? If you're not going to use them internally, like get them to pay for some education, like get them to give you something that you need to do your job better, like figure out how to manipulate, and manipulation is it can be used as a negative word. I'm talking about it in terms of your self-preservation and in terms of your self-career growth. You better learn how to make moves. And so if it's not able to happen where you are, and you've already tried to figure out how to make moves from where you are, then you need to bounce out of that situation. And that's how you leverage it. You leverage where you were to get to where you want to go to. So I just think that a lot of times it's okay. I guess the bottom line I'm trying to say is it's okay for people to use you if you know why you're being used.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah. Now, I want to take it back for a second because I was listening to one of your interviews and said, I know what it's like to hit rock bottom and build yourself back up. You know, what was that moment for you?
Rock bottom?
Yeah.
Sucks. I mean, you feel empty. You feel like you feel lost. You feel less than a man. You feel confused. The self-doubt runs crazy. Like you just, and you become paralyzed.
Yeah. What was the moment for you though?
Depressed. I mean, the moment was because we had been pursuing. Look, I had asked my wife to leave her job to come and run what I was doing at the time. I considered like a hobby that I thought we could turn into a business. And I was like, I can't do this alone. You've been a COO for 2 other startups. Why don't you now come and be the CEO for your own startup? So I had to like convince her. I finally convinced her, got her to come along. She was reluctant at first, but then she came on board. And then I had been working behind the scenes while all this is going on while I had a full-time job, but I was always a side hustler. So I was always like working my own from free to fee. So I was like getting my own radio show, get my own podcast, get my own thing. Like I was getting my own stuff that I was doing to hustle on the side, even though I was getting a paycheck. So I got laid off. And at that moment when I got laid off from the job, I was like, this is my opening. We had like a year's worth of savings. I had been working on a deal with, at that time, this was like 10 years back now. So that was like AOL. So I had been working on a deal with them that was like $286,000. This joint was going to launch our company. So we had signed the paperwork, fired up our LLC, got our lawyers, did everything, signed the dotted line on our end with this contract for AOL. And literally 3 months after being laid off, we're headed down to Dulles, Virginia, which is where the headquarters was at. And at that time, if you had a contract over $250,000, they would throw you a signing party. So we're literally driving on I-95 from Baltimore to Virginia, and we get a phone call on the way there. On the way there, the phone call basically goes, hey, Mario, I'm so sorry that I waited to the last minute. I didn't have the guts to tell you this a couple of days ago when I first found out, but the deal's not going through. I'm in the car, fam, with my wife on the way there. We got a 5-year-old son. I just told my wife, don't worry about it. We got this contract. We're going to launch this business. It's all good.
Is it on speakerphone?
This is on.
just something like, just one of those.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't driving like, yo, what are you talking about? No,
Yeah, that's why I'm curious because your wife and your child's in there.
No,
right?
the kid's not with me because he's at mom's because we are on our way to the signing party. This is a business deal.
It's adult. Yeah, exactly.
So we're on our way to this business contract, and so we pulled over on the side of the road, and literally, man, the pause that you hear right now is the pause that we were feeling. Like the jaws hit the floor. And you're like, yo, David, why couldn't you, what the hell, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, you got to backdate the contract. You don't understand. Like, everything that we got is riding on this right now. And he's like, dude, there's nothing I could do. I'm so sorry. I wish I would have called you a couple of days ago, but I couldn't get the courage to do it. So we had to turn around, drive back. So at that moment, we were like, quiet as hell. Like, the ride back sucked.
And where are you driving from to Virginia? Like how long was a trip? Like how far? Like how close were you to me?
The trip from like our house to there was like an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. So
it's not that bad, but
that's a long drive though. When you fail at something, that's a long drive.
Yeah,
Trust
that's
me.
a heavy drive.
That drive felt like 3 hours for sure.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
All right,
So I said, look, we're gonna wake up tomorrow. We're gonna have the same situation in front of us. So we have to make a decision. Are we or are we not entrepreneurs? I don't know the answers. We'll figure it out. But I know that we can't wake up in shock tomorrow. Like, it's okay for us to go through it, like process your emotions. Let's go through it. But let's start to also be proactive about how this kind of it comes with the game, and that this is going to happen more than once. So we better be ready. And if we can't stomach this, then maybe we shouldn't get into this entrepreneur game, because it's only going to happen more. So we had like this kind of concept and this mindset, and we both told each other, okay, if that's the deal, then both of us can't be down at the same time. Only one of us can be down at any given time. And that was a struggle, because then the country went into a recession in 2008. Like 3 months after this deal falls through, the country goes into a recession. So now there's nobody hiring. There's nobody actually wanting to spend any money because they're too afraid to spend any money. So everybody's on hold. So now we're starting to eat away at our savings. Years worth of money gone. 401k now. Now we're in year 2 because stuff still isn't coming back. So now we eat up the 401k. Now we're using credit cards, and now we're like maxing out credit cards to pay bills. Like, when you use credit cards to start grocery shopping, you know things is like, what is going on?
That's tough, yeah.
Like, you don't want to pay no interest on groceries. Are you kidding me? So it got to the point where my mother-in-law was buying our groceries. It got to the point where I'm digging in the sofa looking for change, loose change, so I could take it through these machines, these Coinstar machines at the grocery store, so I can get cash dollars, so I can put it into my car for gas money, so I can try to like hustle to another appointment to try to get $200 here, $500 there, $150 here. Like, it tested everything. It tested our marriage, not because of the money, but just because of how damn hard it got. And the fact that we had no other income coming in. Like, our income was tied to this entrepreneurial effort. And if this entrepreneurial effort dies, we die.
Man, that's insane. So
that's crazy, man.
That's how this became Never Settle. Like, that's why we do the Never Settle show. That's why we have the Never Settle content. That's why we have the new series that's coming out in February or beginning of March. That's why this is what it's all about, because we lived it. Your lived experience is your expertise. So a lot of people that are young that are listening, don't let these people tell you that you don't have wisdom. Wisdom has no age, son.
Mm-hmm.
Your lived experience, whatever you've been through, is already giving you a level of expertise. And some of you are experts in something that I completely don't understand because of your lived experience. So that's how we can claim Never Settle, and that's how we can actually teach credibly and authentically teach other people how to not settle, because we didn't.
Mm-hmm. Facts. Mm-hmm. Go ahead on.
So navigating from that rough patch, right? Guide us through that, right? You come back home, your mom's helping you with the groceries, you're piling up like extra cash you could find anywhere. You look at your wife, you sit down. What do you guys say to each other? Like, you're like, hey, babe, like, this is what I think we should do, and this, and that. Like, what was that chat after things had settled down and you're looking to move forward?
That chat was, what is our vision? Where do we really see ourselves going? What can we do with what we have available to us? Like anything. What can we start? What can we create? What move can we make? When you're in that situation and you're desperate, the only thing that can really be super guiding light is if you're centered, and if you have somebody that can keep, like an accountability partner. If you have an accountability partner, then you could really make sure that you stay centered, because then you have somebody else to lean on that understands exactly what you're going through. So we were fortunate in that situation, but we were less fortunate that both of us needed the accountability from each one of us, and we didn't have two nickels to scratch. So the thing that really kind of kept us going was really understanding what the big picture was. So we had to sit down and really kind of think, like, what's the big picture? Okay, we really want to create a content production company. We really want to create a multimedia production company that can create content that can impact people's lives. We want to do like what Oprah did for like the older audiences. We want to like be able to help like millennials and Gen Z. We want to be able to help like the younger audience understand how they can make moves and how they can get to accomplish their passions in a smoother process. Like, let's be full on transparent. Let's share with them some of the worst things that we can share with them, some of the things that happen, some of our biggest failures. Like, let's be open, let's be transparent, and let's be full on vulnerable, because a lot of people keep trying to sugarcoat it and they keep trying to put filters on it. And a lot of people are getting misinformation, and that's why they keep failing, and then they keep giving up too early. And we know exactly what that was like. And so we were like, yo, we could teach people what we went through and help them not go through it, but also they can be a part of the journey as we build out of it. And so for us, the common core thing that we got down to was always asking ourselves, what is the next right move? Not the big vision, because you got to see the big vision, but it will overwhelm you and it will shut you down because you won't feel like you're getting enough progress because the vision is too big. So then you have to ask yourself, what is the next right move? And if you just do that consistently, on these small ass moves, if you just do that consistently, you will start to look up a month, 2 months later, and you'll be like, yo, we actually getting some progress. We're actually getting some momentum. So that was how we actually got through it. That was what the conversation was. It was, what's our next right move?
It's actually, you say the next right move is actually such a great concept, Mario. I was reading about the founders of IBM, right? And one of the things that this is back in like early 1900s, they're asking themselves, what is going to be, who do we want to be, right? Like when you're starting out, like you ask yourself, who do you want to be? What's the type of organization that we want to build? How's that looking 50, 60 years ahead? So I think his name was Watson. I forgot his first name, but the early founder of Watson, right? He said, okay, this is the organization we want to be like. This is the type of employees we want to hire. This is how we want to have a position in the market. And this is what we want. They laid out a plan, and they started acting as if they were already that company before they were already that company, right? They're like, okay, would that type of company be doing these type of moves right now? And if the answer is like, no, we're not going to be doing that type of move. And that's how you build towards like a great team. You build a great team, you build a great organization. So that's such a great concept people don't really think about, because they think about, hey, we're just going to think about like right now, but how can we reverse everything that we want and have every move we make aligned with that end vision? And then that's what allows you to connect that bridge towards meeting that vision. And that's why IBM has been a legendary company for decades, is because even till this day, they're still following Earl Watson's plan from like Thomas J. Watson. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's such a good, I mean, that reverse engineering is exactly what you're talking about. Like actually looking at the end goal and then going backwards in order to try to accomplish that goal. And so it's a beautiful story because it's absolutely true. Like if you start saying to yourself, I want to be very specific, like let's say I want to have a $3.5 million company, and you start saying that over and over and over, and then by the way, you got to believe that you really want to work your tail off to create a $3.5 million company. If you constantly tell yourself that, you can easily look at the moves you're making, look at the people that you're talking to, look at the time that you're spending, and assess where you're using your time and recognize, like, there's no way in the world I'm going to get $3.5 million if I keep doing this type of output, if I keep hanging around these types of people. Yo, your group chat, you better check your group chat. Do they want $3.5 million? Do they want to make something? And it's not about the money. It's about like goal setting, and it's about being purposeful and having intentionality with what you do want to see for yourself. Like I'll never forget, like 2015, yeah, 2008 recession, 9, 10, 11 in debt, 13, 14. 2015 was when our company first crossed $1 million. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have not said $1 million for the goal. I wish I would have said $3.5 million for the goal, because then I probably would have landed at closer to 2.
That's big. That's big.
But I
All right,
said
so
$1 million.
let's not skip over. Okay, man.
We got it, but I would much rather have been like, I would much rather come short on 2 million than actually hit $1 million. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
I feel you.
Sure. All right, so now let's not skip ahead of those steps that got you to that $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So what was the first deal that got you out of the weeds?
It was a public speaking engagement, and the public speaking engagement paid me $10,000.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what I said. What the hell is good? No, actually, not that first. That was like the second or third one. I'm sorry, I take that back. That first one was more like 6,500. It was like 6,500. I had to fly to LA, give this speech. I was nervous as hell because everything was riding on this. Like we had nothing, so everything was riding on this. So I put on the suit, like played the role, act as if, checked into the hotel, had my presentation, went over it, didn't leave the room, didn't clown around, didn't do nothing. All I do remember though is jumping on Craigslist and hiring a videographer. I ain't even have any money, fam, and I was just like, I barely had it. I was like, I think I had like $100. They gave me some money in advance that we had a little bit of pocket change to that, because nobody flew with me. It was just me. We weren't balling, like none of that. Like this was a straight low budget, get there, get this money, get back. Let's figure out how we can repeat this effort. And so I had a little bit of money that they gave me up front for a deposit. I used that money to barely get enough food, and then the rest of it I used to hire me a videographer at the last minute in LA. And I was like, look, this is all I got. Can you come and shoot my speech for an hour? I need to get this on video. Because the plan was, if I was going to be on the stage and I was going to be in front of 500 people, that I wanted to make sure that I had my own copy of this video so that I could use this as leverage to try to get me the same type of deals with the same type of money. But now I would have actual proof of my performance. So then I had to hope that I was going to kill the performance, right? Because now I'm like spending money I don't really have. And what if they record it and my performance sucks? So now I got all this other added pressure that I'm putting on myself. So now I can't fall asleep. So now I'm staying in the hotel room. I'm eating French fries and like a grilled chicken sandwich. Like I remember this stuff vividly. And I'm sitting there and it's now like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, Mario, you got to go to sleep. You got to be up at 6. Like you talk at 8. You got to be downstairs by like 7:15 for the sound check. Like you're going on at 8:15 or something like that. And so next thing I know, fam, I just started freaking out. I stayed awake all night. I think I fell off to sleep at like 4:30. And then I think I woke back up like an hour later because I was afraid to oversleep. So I woke up scared, only had like an hour, maybe an hour and a half sleep. And I was like a zombie. Got into game mode, went downstairs, had some breakfast, did my sound check, got on stage, 500 people from the insurance business, all looking at me. And my little colored self got up there and like nailed that joint in front of a room full of like white people. No offense, but I'm just saying, like that's what I want y'all to see exactly and feel like what I was looking at. And I'm working this stage and I'm clicking my little clicker and the screen's changing and I'm doing my stuff. Man, at the end of that thing, I had a line waiting for me. And thank God we recorded it all.
Wow.
Because 3 people that were at that same event came up to me and was like, we got an event next month. We got an event in 2 months. We got an event in 3 weeks. That changed everything. So that 6,500 then with that video got me to start getting $8 grand, $9 grand, $10 grand for a speech. Next thing I know, I'm in Honolulu. I'm in Hawaii. No, Kauai. I'm in Hawaii, Hawaii, on stage basically with Seth Godin and Tim Ferriss, 4-hour work week dude. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on, fam. Like everything is just like changed upside down.
Your life just changed. Like,
and it wasn't like, we're still in debt, right? We got no money. Like you're getting this money, but you got to pay back all these bills. It's not like new money that I can go and like, I'm out flossing and flexing. Like you're just doing this to stay above water. So it was just a really crazy time. Because if you would have met me or saw me, you would have thought that I was already good, that I made it.
Mm-hmm. Can you like go like a little bit, speak about like the content of what you were speaking about for our audience and what you were the type of speeches you were giving?
At that time, I was talking about technology and how to use it to empower your sales teams and how to use it to market your brand. So fortunately, I had known a lot about technology, and fortunately, I had done well for myself in terms of understanding how to market yourself using tech. And so now I was teaching like people that this wasn't native to them. You know, these people were older. So I was teaching them like, here's how you can use like LinkedIn to get you new clients. Here's how you can use Twitter to like talk about the expertise that you have to then use that as a way to capture leads. And then once you get the leads, you know, then you know what to do once you get the leads, but I'm going to teach you how to use technology to get better, more qualified leads. So it was about three things. It was about sales, it was about technology, and it was about productivity. How could you be more productive with your time through the tech that was out there? So I would expose them to different apps, software, and formulas that they could use that would help accelerate their businesses.
Yeah, that's a very valuable talk, man, without a doubt. And that
and so they were willing to pay. You know, once they realized like, oh, this little young kid knows a few things, that got me to get picked up by other people that were like, you need to hire this guy Mario for your next, you doing a session for you got to hire Mario because nobody's talking. Seth Godin is the marketing king, but he's going to talk about marketing, right? Tim Ferriss, entrepreneur king. He's going to talk about how to get you a lot more out of your performance, get you reach your potential, really help you be more productive. But none of them are really speaking on like, outsourcing and all that, but none of them are really speaking on like the practical tools and the actual apps and doing demos on stage. And like, I'm not being paid from any of these companies. So I was really giving them advice that I thought would really be empowering for them. And it was the right advice for that type of audience. So since that was valuable to them, which is the takeaway, since they saw value in that and it really did help them, it was easy for them to refer me and recommend.
Nice. That was smart. You did your research and figured out exactly what the audience needed to hear and what would empower them to be better businessmen in their lives.
That's right. That's exactly it. No doubt.
All right, boom. Cool. So now, this is when you start developing your business and start bringing the pieces together to form the company.
Yeah. At the time, Mario Armstrong Media LLC is what it was. You know, now we have two businesses, but that was the first one.
Got you. Oh, what's the two businesses now?
So we got Mario Armstrong Media LLC, and then we have Never Settle Productions.
Got you. And the productions where you produce the Never Settle show and other content for other people and brands.
That's right. So yeah, Never Settle Productions, full-on production effort. Like when we do our show in New York City, you know, pre-COVID, 70 people being a live studio audience. We're talking 7 cameras. We're talking in NASDAQ. So this is like, you know, like the stock exchange. We're in their building where CNBC shoots its morning show. CNBC, y'all, shoots their morning show in the same building, in the same studio that we're in. Got an 80-foot wall behind us with video screens. I can see out the glass. It's all surrounded by glass, so people in Times Square can look into our show just like you would see at Good Morning America or these other shows where you see the audience hanging outside, like peeking in. So it was crazy. I mean, we didn't start there. That was season 2. Season 1 didn't look like that at all because we were still struggling to make it. But that's where we are now, and that's what Never Settle. That's part of what Never Settle Productions does. Is the Never Settle show, which when we ramp that up, that's hiring 30 people, 7 cameras, full-on control room, full-on staff. We're selling 6-figure sponsor deals, and to pay for it, we're talking like $40,000 per episode is what it costs to run it. So just to do 10 episodes, you're hitting $500,000 pretty much. So it's a very expensive production. But that company, that side, that arm takes care of those productions, Wake Up and Level Up podcast, and the productions that we do for brands. Brands hire my company for us to do certain things for certain brands. So whether it's like Beats by Dre or Capital One or Wix, or in the case Zenny Eyewear, like companies pay me to be able to align. If I see that there's an alignment, align with their brand, and then we get multi-year contracts with them, just like an athlete would.
Ah, amazing, man. Amazing. All right, so now with Mario, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to the Never Settle LLC.
We're building up
for sure. All right, so now at this point, you're the talent and the CEO of the company. If I'm not mistaken.
No, Nicole is the CEO. But for all intents and purposes, it was like co-CEO, but she was CEO on paper, and I was the one that was working on the vision, marketing, and then I was the talent. Everything else Nicole was running.
Got you. Got you. Got you. All right.
Legal, back office, operations,
Hiring.
negotiations,
Mhm.
right? Hiring, dealing with contracts, like all of that stuff.
Got you. Now that I feel like is a turbulent time as well, because I mean now you're still doing it, but I guess it's kind of off. But now you have a whole team behind you. So
A whole
how'd
team?
you
You mean now I have a whole team, or you mean then?
now you have a whole
Oh,
team?
okay, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But then it was all on you. You know what I'm saying? So how'd you manage your time to be efficient to build up a company while running with all these hats on?
Um, you try to be as effective. I don't use the word efficient. I use the word effective. So I had to learn early on that efficient just means that I can run faster, but effective means that I'm running at the right things at the right time. And a lot of times people confuse the two terms. They use them interchangeably, but that's wrong. Like being efficient means you figured out how to make a process better, smoother, run quicker. That's all that means. Like you can maybe pack more widgets on the assembly line because you made it more efficient. But if those widgets are only giving you 50 cents of a profit margin, is it effective? I don't know. Maybe, but is it? If I have another product that gets me $5 profit margin, wouldn't it be better for me to spend my time on the $5 profit margin than to try to make this thing efficient at the 50-cent profit margin? So people get efficiency and effectiveness confused. So I wasn't trying to be more efficient. What I was actually trying to be was like, how could I be more effective? And so what that meant is, how do I align myself with where is the money in my industry? Like, learn about your business, people. Learn about your industry. I was a research nut. I still am, but nowhere near like when I was going through it then. I was reading everything I could read. I wanted to understand how people made money in this business. I wanted to understand how productions could do ads, how you could do paid programming, how you could get paid as a brand for product placement, how you could, like all these things I wanted to understand. Agencies, agents, what's their role? PR, what's their role? Like I wanted to understand everybody's role. And so that learning helped me understand how we could develop our model to be more aligned with where better potential income was coming out of. And so I think being effective really helped us stay focused on how to now turn this personal brand, because that's what it was. It's a personal brand. Like I am the product. The product, if I'm the product, how scalable is that? I can only be at one place at one time, right? Physically. So you have to get effective. It wasn't about making Mario run faster, putting him in more places. Some of that is true because I did want to be like in Atlanta to be on CNN and then be in New York on the Today Show. That's where you got to be a little bit efficient. But I was being effective because I was showing up on the right networks at the right time, which was blowing up my personal brand and my name recognition and getting my likeness out there in a much bigger way than it would have been had I just been running really, really fast. So I think that really changed the game for us to really be focused at that time. I was doing a lot of traveling, but I was trying to be as effective as possible doing it.
Got you, genius. And like some of the elements of being effective, like you said, is being on the more prominent shows, the big box media companies, and that would blow up your brand and essentially allow you to charge more.
Correct.
To these sponsors and advertisers, et cetera, which is genius. And that's a smart move. It's a chess move, essentially, of knocking out the bigger piece first. I got you. All right, now, is this when you
which is hard to accomplish, right? But remember, I did all that work in the local market. So I was able to use that as leverage. So this is why, like, building everybody wants to go national right away. I get it. I did too, fam. But I knew, like, okay, that's like 1 in a million. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go for that shot. It just means while you're going for that shot, you better be taking a whole bunch of trips to the gym and getting your practice in and getting your reps in. So to me, going to the local studio, local station, doing your pot, like in translation to today's terms, that would be like, how many episodes have you been doing? How many interviews have you been hosting? Oh, you need to get your reps up. You're only doing one a week? So, and you want to be one of the best interviews, or you want to have one of the best shows, you better get your reps up. So like, how do you practice? So like today I'd be telling people, yo, what are you doing? Get in Clubhouse and set up a once a week show, or twice or three times a week show in Clubhouse. In fact, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single day you're doing a talk show inside a Clubhouse. Well, why would I do that, Mario? Because you want to start perfecting your interviewing skills. You want to perfect your active listening skills. You want to perfect your communication techniques. You want to also test out potential guests to see if they may have sounded great on the phone. They may have looked awesome on Instagram. You get them in front of the camera, all of a sudden they all quiet. You're like, yo, what's happened to the personality that we saw on IG? Like, I need that on my pocket. I know y'all know what I'm saying, because that's real. I know y'all just probably deal with that.
That's a podcaster struggle, Mario.
That is very real. I ain't gonna call no names.
Like on paper. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
But on paper, they look mint, and yeah.
So that's what I would be saying to them right now. Like, that's your for free to fee. Your for free to fee is like leveraging the social networks and also hitting up the local media. Don't underestimate them. But that would be the free to fee that I'd be doing right now.
Got you. All right. So now let's get to Never Settle. At what point after this local run did you get to a point where you could hit Never Settle?
So now we're up to 2016, and we have this idea, we have this concept around this other show that we want to produce. We had shot some pilots. None of the pilots were getting any attention. They're hard to put out pilots in the mainstream. And we were trying, at that point, this is 2016. We're putting out these pilots. So at 2017, we do one more pilot, and we call it the Never Settle Show. What happened was I had actually sent out a tweet, and I had hashtagged that tweet Never Settle. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something inspirational. And then I was just like, Never Settle. And a whole bunch of people just started like reply, retweet. And so at that time, it was three of us on the team, myself, Nicole, and Shy. And I was like, Shy, what is going on? No, we had more than that by that time. By that time, we had like 4 or 5 of us. But Shy and I were talking. He was like, yo, this Never Settled thing just hit. So we were like, oh, man, this is something. Let's create a Facebook group, and let's call it the Never Settle Club. And so we went and decided to create this club. We did like a 6-module course on how to take your passion from an idea to concept, like your business, how to build your passion into a business we called it from like passion to profit. And it was a 6-module thing we did for free because we had done so well. I told you we had hit like that $1 million. We had done so well. We were like, yo, let's give back to the people. So we were just giving it back just because we were living really good at that time. And so the Never Settle thing hit. And then the club does really, really well on Facebook. And so then Nicole and I are like, wait, is this the show? Like, is this the idea for the show? Hold on. So then we started thinking about making the Never Settle Show, like a talk show that was going to be an hour-long talk show. We would have 2 to 3 different guests that would appear on the show in a studio with a live audience, but it was going to be interactive and live streamed. So this is 2017. We're talking like live streaming, a full-on production, full-on show.
It's like Periscope times.
Periscope times, right before Facebook Live kicked in. This was definitely Periscope times. And so we did that show, man. We didn't have any money to really pull that show off because we had still, even though we had done well, when I say done well, we just weren't going into debt. We were still cleaning off debt from what was happening from 2008 to 2012 and 13. Like, we didn't really start making any money until 2015, but that money was paying everything back just to keep us afloat. Mm-hmm. So we were still rebuilding. But at that time, I'd sold a 6-figure sponsor deal, and that pretty much to FedEx office. Thank you, FedEx office. And then we covered the rest with some of the new credit that we had gained back from paying back off our credit cards. But can you imagine the fact that you've just got out of credit, got out of debt, and now you're going back into debt for the dream? And you're like, yo, are we really about to do this again?
You're nuts.
Yeah, you got your head out of the water. You're breathing. You're like, okay, I'm floating. I'm good. Then something just pulls you back
you're
down
like,
again.
What are we doing to ourselves? Like, this better work out, son. This better work out, right? So next thing I know, we're shooting a pilot for this show. We pitch it to FedEx office. They like the idea. They gave us about 75% of the budget. So the other 25% came out of our pocket. That's how we had to go and grab some more credit card money. So thankfully we had it. Put the rest of the show onto that. season 1 comes out. By the way, I should also say we didn't have a studio. We couldn't afford a studio. If any of you ever go to my YouTube channel on Never Settle Network, you can kind of see the behind the scenes, and we actually walk you into the New York City streets where we were at the time, and you can kind of see the behind the scenes. But we didn't have the money for a studio. A studio costs $300,000 for a week if you really want a high quality studio. And we weren't playing around. We wanted a high quality show. We wanted something that was going to be broadcast quality. We didn't want to do just a rinky-dink 1 or 2 camera show. We really wanted to blow it out. So what happened was, long story short, and this is a really good takeaway, we did what's called a barter. Remember I told you I read about my industry? One of the things that I read about my industry is a thing called a barter. A barter is an exchange. It's basically, hey, I'm going to give you something in exchange for something. So I went to tech companies because I knew some, and I was like, yo, can we use your lobby to film our show? And in exchange for using your lobby, we'll come in once a week. It was a show on Wednesdays. You won't even know that we were there. We'll come in like 4 or 5 o'clock, set up, and be out of there by 10 o'clock at night, put everything back. You'll come in the next morning like we weren't even there. And so I was like, all I got to do is convince one company to let me use their lobby. And in exchange, the barter is I'll mention their product in the show. So I was giving them free advertising in exchange for not having to pay for a location. So then we brought all of our cameras, we bought the crew, we bought the volunteers, the interns, and literally it was like 25 people running around this place trying to get it all set up. The director was in a janitorial closet. Like the director of the show, you can't have the director out in the show, like, because they're yelling out, like they're saying, camera 1, tight shot, camera 2, wide, Mario, move to spot number 3, Mario coming up next, your next segment is, like, they can't be saying all that, like, with the audience right there. They got to be in a closed off room. The only closed off room we could put them in was in the janitor closet. And we got pictures of this, son, like straight receipts. Like I literally took pictures because I was like, nobody's going to believe this. When we start really balling out here or really getting our dream, no one's going to believe this. So I'm in there taking pictures left and right. People are like, why are you doing it? I'm like, don't worry. It's going to posterity. Watch 5 years from now. We're going to be so happy we took these pictures. So that's where it started. And off that season, we only had 6 episodes. We did all 6, killed it. Off that season, we decided to submit for the Emmys. By the way, I should say, when we were all meeting as our first production meeting, and we get around the table and we're all meeting, and it's like 8 of us. And I pull out this document and I put it down on the table and I gave everybody a copy of it. And I can't remember what year of the Emmys that was, like what number, but I was like, this is the big ass packet. I was like, this is the packet for the Emmys. We didn't even know what we were shooting for the show. We knew it was going to be positive, inspirational, and it was going to be a talk show. We didn't know anything else about the show. And I'm like, we're going for an Emmy. And they're like, yo, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm not doing the show just to get an Emmy. I said, but we're gonna use this as motivation to make sure that we produce the highest quality possible with no money that we got, because we're gonna think like people that are creating for an Emmy. So this goes all the way back, into that whole thing that you were talking earlier about acting as if. I was putting it into the mindset of the crew and the team. Like they were either looking at me like, yo, Mario's crazy. How the hell? Like he's like off the ranch, or like, yo, this dude is really energizing me right now. We're going to try to do this.
Yeah.
And so we ended up winning an Emmy for that season.
Damn, congrats on that. Congrats to you and your team, man.
There you
No
go.
lie.
Cheers.
First Emmy.
Wow. How did it feel when you got that Emmy, man? Like, I mean, reflecting back to being a rock bottom, and then about like, I'd say from understanding is like 5 years, let's say, give or take 6, to get an Emmy, man. Like thinking about like if you were that back of that person like at rock bottom, and you're looking back and someone told you, hey Mario, hey, you're gonna win an Emmy, hey man, you're gonna do this, you're gonna become somebody. Like just reflect on that. Like how was that moment for you when you're like just thinking back to like crazy idea you and your wife had, getting that phone call, going to Virginia, and now being an Emmy winner. Like not a lot of people can say that.
Yeah. I hear you, brother. I hear you. No doubt. And that moment, first off, you find out you got nominated. So first off, you're actually submitting, and you're like, yo, I can't even believe we're actually submitting our show for this. Like you're actually going through the submission process, which is really tedious. And they got a lot of criteria and specific things you can and can't do. So we submit, and then you just let it go. And you're like, all right, that's it. We did it. Holy crap. We submitted it. Like, then you find out months later, you got nominated. And you're like, wait, what? And in fact, we got nominated for 2. We got nominated for Best Host and Best Interact and Best Show, which is crazy. So when we got the nomination and we found out, I mean, you felt that you finally proved your supporters right. Not the haters wrong. Not the haters wrong. A lot of people like to use that energy, and I get it as a way to spark the bulb, like someone tells you no, because we were definitely going through that moment where these networks were telling us no to the idea. Like, no, Mario, nobody really wants this idea. Nobody really wants anything inspirational right now. They want reality shows. They want escapism. Nobody really wants anything that's like about being productive or doing good. And so we're constantly being told this. And we're like, yo, y'all are up in these 35-foot floor towers. Y'all have no idea what's going on in the street. Periscope is going nuts. People love this content on Periscope, but y'all ain't on Periscope, so you have no idea. So we just kept plugging away. Like, I tell people all the time, when you're getting told no's, there's only 2 ways to react to a no. You either so here's how you react to when you're getting no's out there. Number 1, if you're getting the same no over and over and over, like you pitched it multiple times and people are all telling you wrong timing, or they're all telling you it costs too much, then you actually should go back and look at that one thing that everyone keeps telling you is wrong and see if you're outpriced yourself, or if you overprice yourself, or if your timing is off. But if you keep getting different answers, your timing's wrong, it costs too much, I wish you had this other feature, what happened to this other thing? If you're hearing that, then you keep going. You don't tweak a daggone thing. You keep going because you just haven't met the person that this is going to be right for. And sometimes that person has to be you. So that's what we had to do. Once we were realizing we were getting all these no's, but the no's were different, and then we ran out of people to basically pitch it to, we're like, yo, it's either on us, or like we have to wait for some gatekeeper to say yes. And so that's when we decided to go in and do it ourselves and get the sponsor with FedEx and pay the money, the other 25%. So to do all of that and then get nominated, I wasn't really using that energy of like, told y'all. I wasn't like out there like that. I was more like, Mom and Dad, thank you for supporting the idea. Thank you for believing in us when no one else did. Because guess what? I got news to tell you. We just got nominated. And so that moment really, really hit, man. And then when you show up on Emmy night and you're there amongst all these people, and you're going into the Marriott Marquis, and you go into the ballroom and you see like all the glitz and glamour, and you got the lights and the cameras and the big stage and big screens. And then out in the lobby area, they got the step and repeat with the Emmy Awards, and people are taking group shots and pictures, and you're getting ready to have dinner, and you got your program guide, and you're looking at all this, and you're like, yo, we just bought a table of 10. Like, we got a table that, like, I only get a ticket and one other person. We bought the table for the family. Family came up from New York. We're like in the hotel shooting video. Like, people are getting dressed. The people are getting their hair done. Like, my aunt and them, the aunties and them, they're getting their hair done. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy that we're getting dressed for the awards show. And now we're walking to the awards, man. We go and sit at our table, just sitting there bating breath, like waiting to hear what's going to happen. And the lady calls the wrong category. We don't know this. She calls the category. She calls the wrong names of that category. And we know the people that we're up against. So we're like, what are these names that she's calling? Like, this doesn't sound like our category. What is going on? And then you start hearing like murmurs in the audience, and you're like, something's going on. She realized that she had forgotten to say the previous award, but she used our category, but had the previous award. Like, there must have been 2 cards stuck together, and one was still like stuck. So she skipped. So she had to go back and then re-announce. She had to give that person their award, because they didn't even know they won an award. So they got their award. They come up, do their speech. Then they go back down. Then they redo our award again. So now we got to go through the whole angst and everything all over again. And we're sitting there waiting. And I saw her lips. And I saw her lips go, And I'm like, yo, that's my name. Mario is like, you start Mario with your lips to Mario. You don't start, Tom, Matt, Mario, you know what I mean? Marianne. Like, I'm like looking at her lips that hard, fam. I jumped up before anybody else jumped up, and they were all like, and I was like, yes. And thank God, she said our name, and it was like, it went nuts.
Been bad.
The table went nuts. Table went nuts, man. I mean, I think I let her say Ario. I think I let her say that, but I had already jumped up. I didn't make a bunch of noise until I.
You already gassed up.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. The energy was just too high, man. I mean, we literally. I remember running. We didn't even walk up, try to play it all smooth like we knew we were going to win. Are you kidding me? Yo, we were skipping. We were like literally like hopping and skipping to the stage. We were so amped. We were like bouncing while we were moving like, yeah, we did that shit, yeah. And we were like nonstop. And then we got our composure once we got on stage, man.
You know that.
So what was your speech like? What'd you say?
The speech is on Instagram. You got to dig for it. I should really surface that up to the top. Oh, you know what? On IG, I got a highlight. So look for Emmy Awards in my IG highlight. And then you can kind of see, like, you'll see the day, you'll see us in the hotel, you see the ladies getting their hair done, and then you'll see my speech. The speech was crazy. And a couple times that night, people had asked me, do you have something to say? And I was like, no, I don't have anything pre-written. And I was like, I'm going to get it together. But I didn't want to jinx it at the same time. But I also didn't want to go up there and, like, drop the ball. So then I went up there, man, and my speech was basically what you all were just asking. I went up there and I said, 10 years ago, I started off like 10 years ago today, my wife and I, CEO Nicole, we were flat broke with a dream for going out and pursuing this vision. We go out, we were in complete debt. We cleaned up our debt only to then launch this show to go back into debt. And here we are today. And then I go into some like inspirational thing, like don't let anybody determine your destiny. Nobody gets to dictate your destiny. Like go out and get your blah, 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 blah. Like I'm literally now just like straight preaching and just going off with like this inspirational message. So much so that the woman that was on stage handing out the awards, she starts screaming. She's like, yes. Like you can see it. It was like crazy. And then the music starts playing because they're trying to get me like, okay, brother, like enough now. we were so amped, fam. I walked off the stage and forgot to get the award from her. She had to yell at us to come back and like grab the award. Like I completely just said my speech and then I was like, I'm out and like rolled out, forgot the damn award.
Oh, they give it to you that night? I thought they actually like take it back and then ship it to you.
They give you an award right then on the spot so that you have something for your pictures, so that you can like feel the moment, and they give you an award right there, but it doesn't have the actual labeling. Plate. The plate. This plate that goes on it comes. So that's why it's got to come to you later. But they at least give you the award so that you can go out, and see other Emmy winners and take your pictures and do all of that stuff.
That's fly, man. That's fly. Awesome, man. All right, so now it's after this now that you got geared up for season 2, and season 2 is it still independent or
independent? Still independent, son. And so season 2, we were done. So to wrap up season 1, we did that show 2017. We're literally packing up the U-Haul truck ourselves, like myself, my wife. I don't know if Christopher wasn't there. Myself, my wife, and a couple other team members, and we're like literally breaking down the set. Because we had 2 flat screens, we had like this little mini bar, we had a lot of banners, we had step and repeat signage, we had a red carpet for people. Like we did it up as much as we could in that spot, which is a key for all of y'all. Stop trying to make stuff perfect. Perfection does not exist, fam. Like perfection does not. Y'all out here trying to make everything perfect because you think you need to have it polished. Meanwhile, you're missing out on the reps. And meanwhile, other people don't even know what your vision really is, because you haven't put it out there, because you think like, well, it's not ready yet. Well, when will it ever be? It's never going to be ready. You're always going to evolve it. So you better launch it and then evolve it as you launch it. Like try to make it the best you can, but after that, go. And that's what we did. But at the end of that season, man, we were exhausted, like done. Like it took everything out of us to do that season. So that summer, fortunately, we were like still climbing out of debt, but we were like doing better because this is 2017. And we just kind of took the summer off to like relax and like figure out what are we going to do for the next season. And man, do you know, because we launched with the imperfect show, we didn't win an Emmy yet. This is 2017. You don't win the Emmy until 2018. It's a year later that you actually get the Emmy. You can only submit the Emmys for the year before. You can't submit it while you're in the season. So that's an important point, because in 2017, in that summer, we finished it, but we were done, exhausted, tired. Drove back from New York to Baltimore and had to unload all this stuff into a storage unit to like put it up. It's like, this is ridiculous. I never want to do this again. This is crazy. And we get a phone call towards the end of the summer. And the phone call is from NASDAQ Studios in Times Square, calling us, this little itty bitty show, saying, would you like to bring your show over to NASDAQ? We saw your show on Facebook. We would love to see if we could produce it for you over here. At no cost? Yeah. No, we just want to produce your show for you over here, but we would want you to drive some attention to NASDAQ. Y'all for real? Okay, bet. And next thing you know, we're having meetings, and then we're in that, dude, 7 cameras, full-on production studio. We're talking a multi-million-dollar studio that we now is our playground to go. This is where they ring the bell for the stock morning and night. CNBC's got a show there. We're in the middle of Times Square. They actually own a tower. They own the tower is right connected to their building. So this big tower where you see the ball drop in New Year's Eve and all that stuff, not that tower, but the one right next to it, right there, the next biggest, that's the biggest one, but the next biggest one is NASDAQ's tower. Next thing I know, they're telling me how they're actually going to promote me in the middle of Times Square with my image and the show and all that information up on this tower. I'm talking billboards in Times Square.
Man, that is, I'm just sitting back here just thinking, like, this is just
Can't
amazing. This is God's work, bro. You can't make this up.
This is definitely God's work, and and this is why you hear me harp. This is why you hear the passion. Like, launch. Yeah. Stop tripping. Stop thinking your thing is not ready. Stop thinking that so many people are paying that much attention to your thing to be ready. Like, people want to support you, but they need to see what they need to support. If you can't show them what you're doing, then they don't know what to support you on.
Yeah. We were talking to someone earlier today, and they said something so like crazy that you didn't even think about it. Like, but someone's always watching, right? When you're doing something, someone is always like, yeah. Did you like? You would have never thought like you're getting that ring from NASDAQ, like out of all companies, right? So like you're just kind of like you picked up your things, you just did whatever you got to do, you followed like the process, and NASDAQ again. Like I think from like, the theme of your story is just like, okay, just do the work. Do the work, and signs and synchronicities of everything coming together will all pull in to make you realize your dream. And NASDAQ was like the kind of like the icing on the cake, right? Because all you've wanted was that multi-camera, really great studio. And out of nowhere, you get that ring and it's just like, hey, we want to do this for you for free. We want to promote you. And you're in Times Square. Like that is just like, you've made it. Like you're on, like you're actually on now. And that's why it's God's work, bro.
No, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. Like, have faith in God, your deity, whatever that is for you. Have faith, have intentionality. Like, be a good person. Like, be a good person and mean well and show that in your efforts and have good intention, and then execute. And this is why, we get hung up, because failure is such a strong word in our society, because we've been conditioned to only win. And that's why you have people trying to win at all costs, which means they'll end up making desperate moves, or they'll make bad decisions, or they'll do things that are morally unethical because they've been taught to win. But what we have to all understand is like, you only win from the lessons that you've learned, but that doesn't have to equate to failure. So too many people don't like to launch because they want to get everything right, because they don't want to be embarrassed, or the fear of failure, or the fear of embarrassment, all these things that they worry about that nobody really cares about except you inside your own head. So if you understand that failure is actually not a real thing, if you replace the word failing with learning, if you replace the word fail with learn, or failed to learned, you didn't fail in that relationship. You learned from that relationship. You didn't fail with that business idea. You learned from that business idea. So if you actually look at everything as an experiment, as we all know from school, right? Experiment is a hypothesis, right? And what do they teach you? An experiment might what? It might work, or it might what? And then if it doesn't work according to the hypothesis, then what does that prompt you to go do?
Test some more.
Exactly. Find out why. Test some more, right? Like dig into the learnings, dig into the insights, find out what's going on. So if we actually apply the word experiment to our businesses, to our ideas, to our products, number one, you're going to lose all that daggone angst and pressure and desperation. So you're gonna minimize that stress. Number two, you're going to realize that you're not guaranteed anything because everything is unknown and everything is uncertain. So once you submit to that, then you're like, okay, I'm going to give this the best shot that I can give it with the skills and the talent and everything I have at the time. I'm going to give it the best shot that I can give it. And you're like, yo, I'm experimenting. But nobody wants to say that because it sounds like non-committal. No, it's not. Like you're experimenting on this idea. Look, we're in COVID right now. Y'all want to know the real so let me be full on transparent. Y'all know I love to be completely vulnerable because I want everybody to learn and to see process over prize. So check out this process right now. Y'all are having this podcast interview, and we are literally a few weeks away from launching the 2021 season of the Never Settle show, and I'm not in Times Square because we can't use it. So we sat around but we were like for a year, almost. It's been like 9 months. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I couldn't come up with an answer. And I'm like, maybe it's going to get better. Maybe the virus was, and then it didn't get better. And they're like, dang, we lost all this time. What are we going to do? I finally gave it up. I said, I'm not thinking about this. I'm going to release myself. I'm going to sit still to gain momentum. I sat still. 2 months later, came up with this idea of this other format that's already out there that exists. And I'm mashing it up with a completely different type of content and focus area. And I'm mashing the two together. And I call it the peanut butter and jelly formula, when you take two things that normally don't go together and you create something new. And we're creating kind of a new idea with a format that's going to be familiar to a lot of people from a completely different category. The category that I'm pulling it from is from sports, but I'm bringing it into personal development and into entrepreneurship. But it's something that's never been done yet. I have no idea how it's going to be received. We have no idea if people are going to love it or hate it. All I know is we're experimenting and we're dropping a new season, and then we'll see where this experiment goes. That's how we move. And that's how we're able to move quick and iterate quick and not be affected by anything that happens around us, because we can constantly experiment and constantly learn and then make it better the next time, or shift or pivot or tweak and make it better every single time.
That's a fact. And also you're working on this new course, right? And you've given us some real big jewels, and that we're so thankful of, when it comes to getting brand deals, and sponsorships, because you've closed out multiple six-figure brand deals, like you just mentioned, with FedEx and with Zenny Eyewear and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, what do most influencers, newcomers to this sponsorship space get wrong, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a great question. Most newcomers and influencers think that you have to have a large audience in order to secure brand sponsorship. Number one thing, they think they got to build an audience, and they think that audience has to be like, 10, 20, 30K or something like that before you can actually monetize. And we're in the age right now where the micro influencer, I hate that word, but that's what they call it. People that are under that threshold, or people that have smaller audiences, but you still might have great engagement, are now being recognized as, oh, those people can actually still be influential. They can still get you conversions. They can still get you brand exposure. So I think that's the number one thing that's probably misunderstood, is that you have to have a large audience in order to get brand deals, number one. And I would say probably a good runner up to that, a good number two, would probably be the fact that they don't fully understand how to present the pitch in a way that favors the brand, that they focus on what they're doing and what their product or their content or their influence is, and they're not doing enough research and thought and preparation and alignment with what they actually need that you can then deliver for them.
Got you. So let's put an example of that. Like, let's say, we're a cannabis brand, right? And, we're trying to align with a small influencer who has under 1,000 followers, right? How could somebody align with that cannabis brand to provide them value, and you only have 1,000 followers, and still want to create your mini series on IGTV.
Yep. Beautiful. All right. So the first thing you think of, the first step is alignment. Is the brand that you want to pitch aligned with your product or service? So if you're a cannabis brand, what sponsors are aligned with that particular industry sector? So you got to be thinking about that. So we're talking at this point, we're talking health and wellness, right? So you're thinking about all the wellness brands or mindfulness brands or any of those brands that are associated with cannabis industry. It could also be things that are ancillary products of the cannabis industry. So what are the different tools and things that you all may use that, you know, to smoke or to have the cannabis or to take, like, what are all the other products that are supplying the cannabis industry? Those products are potential brands that are looking at the cannabis industry as a place for their products to be seen. So those are potential sponsors. So the first step is alignment. So you write up all the brands that you think are aligned. And there are two things to really understand here. There's the alignment of tangible brands, like physical products that make sense to connect with your idea or your business or your content. And then there's the intangible, like what is the cannabis company really selling at the end of the day?
Weed.
Yeah, but what?
A lifestyle.
Boom. That's non-tangible. That's an intangible. So then you dig into, well, what does that mean? What's that lifestyle look like? Right? Is that aspirational? Is it like what connects to that lifestyle from an emotion perspective? And then you can think about, well, what brands speak to that emotion? So now you have the obvious brands. These are products that people that are into cannabis also use. We should be going after them for sponsors. And then you have the intangible, the non-tangible things of what's the emotion that you're actually selling in this cannabis company and which brands speak to that emotion. So now you have this big list of all these brands, and now you start to put together your pitch. And so your pitch really starts with how you would do this tactically. I'll give you the quick couple steps. Number one, you would do a Google form or a Google survey on your existing audience. So you would ask your existing audience to hit that link in your bio, fill out this five quick questionnaire, and I'll give you maybe $10, or I'll give you an Amazon gift card or whatever it is to try to like get that number up so that you get 100 or more responses. And then you're going to ask quick 5 questions. You want to find out how much cannabis do they buy, like on a monthly basis. You want to find out what other products do they buy since they're into cannabis. What else is important to them? And then you would ask a couple other questions like the household income, some other stuff that you would ask about them, maybe where they live, these other kind of demographic and psychographics. You then use that as data. So now you can package that into your pitch. Hey, I know I only have 1,000 people following me, but we did a survey and 88% of our audience spends $2,000 a month on cannabis. Wait, what did you just say? Yeah, we got 1,000 people and 88% of them spend $2,000 a month on cannabis. And oh, by the way, then they also buy these other products and they spend about, $500 to $800 a month on these other products. So now you're using the data of your own people to convince them like, hey, you don't have to dismiss this 1,000 people. These people are converting. They listen to me. When I actually put something on my feed, they soak it up. They believe it. They go to it, or they click on it, or they buy it, or they download it, or they register for it. And so it's that alignment with the brand, having the brands listed, the ones that make the most sense. Then it's getting some data from your existing following so that you can actually prove that there is a reason for this alignment that actually makes sense from a financial perspective. And then you put your pitch together. Here's what I'm presenting to you. I'll do 5 stories. I'll do my IG TV series, and we'll mention your product in the background. We'll have your product as product placement, like you see here with Zenny. This is strategic. Every single podcast I go on, people can see my eyewear company as Zenny.
And you're wearing Zenny glasses
all
too,
the time. Right? I'll change.
Actually, I'm getting a pair of Zenny glasses coming through in the mail.
Change it right now. What? What? This is, what I'm saying? So go to zenny.com/Mario, get your discount code, And these glasses are prescription, by the way. They don't have stores, so they can start prescription level glasses at $6.95. And I love fashion, fam. As you can tell, I'm into fashion, so I don't want any cheap whack glasses on my face that are gonna break. So that is a aligned sponsorship that makes sense. I have to be on video. I have to wear eyewear. Well, let's find a company that makes sense for me to wear that I actually believe in as well. Wasn't just finding any eyewear company. There's plenty of others I could have gone to that cost $300-400 a pair of glasses. I didn't want to do that. I could have flexed. Be like, yo, yeah, these joints hot, right? They only made 1 out of 10. It's going to cost you $400. Go to XYZ. That's not going to do my audience any good. If I'm really about trying to help my audience with that alignment, then I want to be able to consciously and authentically talk about the fact that I have glasses that start at $6.95 and I'm wearing them and I look good in them. You can too. And you can have more than one pair at that level so we all can look fly.
That's a fact. And Zenny Eyewear, if you're listening, both me and Owen and I, pardon me, get my grammar correct, both wear glasses.
I switch between two glasses here. Where's my other one? This is a Zenny one. This is a Zenny.
Oh, is that for real?
Yes.
What?
This is Zenny, yeah.
Owen's rocking the Zennies. Listen, this is too serendipitous. Yeah. This is organic right here.
Oh, wow, man. That's great.
And I got 3 more pairs coming in this week, man. Mario, you're right. They're very cheap, great quality, good framing. They gave me that like nice, elegant look with the translucent frames.
Translucent frames are good on you, man. The translucent frames are really good.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, I feel like I need a pair. Zenny, what's good?
Yeah, no, you know,
Zenny, what's good?
I'll get you my discount code. I'll get you the link. You need that link. You need that link in your life.
I bet.
But yeah, man, I mean, that's how sponsorship works, and it's authentic and it's real. You can tell, like, oh, he's really living that life. He's not just doing it and throwing it in. He really does know that they're like the largest online, eyewear spot that's got styles and colors and sunglasses and everything from kids to adults and bifocals to progressive lenses. Like, I've been studying and researching. I mean, they got eyewear for like what they call blocks, which helps you with screens. I'm testing out right now some anti-fog stuff that they just came out with, like something that you wipe on your lens so that when you're wearing a face mask, it doesn't fog up your glasses. Like, these are important things to me as a brand. So you have to actually do your homework on the brands that make sense for alignment so that you can naturally talk about them and not feel forced to push anybody to do something that's not right or that doesn't fit. So get that data on your audience, really understand what it is that you're offering them, and then in that opportunity, create everything from an audio mention. You just heard me gave a verbal mention, but you also see the product placement. That's 2 different ways that I can monetize with that brand. And the same thing goes for this person with this cannabis business with 1,000 followers. You come up with your IGTV series, you skin it with some branding from your sponsors, as well as the name of the show or the name of the content, and you're good. You're off and running.
Sounds good.
Yeah. One of the few partners we're working with right now is Bel Air Rosé. You drink Bel Air Rosé,
No,
Mario?
I don't.
Yeah, what do you...
No,
you don't. You gotta try it. You gotta sip on that, man.
I haven't. You know what? It'll be brand new for me to try this. So now I'm gonna take your word and I'm gonna go ahead and try it because I haven't really been a Bel Air Rosé fan. Like, I'm just not a rosé fan, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't try it. I just haven't tasted it. I'm ignorant to it. So now you got me curious.
It actually is.
Yeah, I had it for my birthday. Alex actually gifted me the bottle, and it came in the mail. Someone delivered it to me, and yeah, man, there's the bottle right there.
Check that out.
Perfect drink to celebrate, man. Honestly, it just goes down really, really smooth.
Is that right?
Man.
Man, I like that bottle. That bottle's classy looking. I like it.
You see the sign?
Yeah, you can't. Oh, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Product placement in effect. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so smart. See, and you just basically informed me about something that I should try. I have a level of trust in what you're saying. I don't believe that you're hyping it. Yeah. I believe that you actually believe what you're saying. So I'm going to now look for the black bottle, pick up the Bel Air, and then hopefully hit you back like, yo, you were so right. I'm buying more. Like that's how the influence and that's how it all can work. And then it's just important for you to, on the back end, we do reporting for our brands and we try to show them. So we'll not only survey our audience when we're doing before we do a campaign, but then after we run a campaign. Like I recently just surveyed our audience. It was just like, so tell me, how do you feel about Zennies? For those of you that bought Zenny Eyewear, how do you feel about them? How do you feel about Mario mentioning Zenny Eyewear in his podcast? How do you feel about me mentioning Zenny.com in my IG series? Like I'm getting the feedback so I can show the brand. And what you find is like, what was it? 89% of the people appreciated Zenny supporting the content that we delivered. Well, that makes the brand look good because now they're being associated with content that is helping other people's lives. And so now they're going to be thinking about supporting Zenny the next time they buy a pair of glasses as opposed to buying them from somewhere else.
That's a fact. Shout out to the other eyewear brand that didn't get a sponsor from us.
Had your chance, dude. Had your chance, but you blew it.
Exactly.
And by the way, man, that course is going to be coming out. So anybody that really does want to understand how they can actually get these brand dollars, because it's really important for me to teach people how to do this. MarioArmstrong.com/courses. MarioArmstrong.com/courses. Just sign up. We got a couple of different courses coming out over the next few weeks, and that's going to be a premier one for sure.
That's Mario.com/
MarioArmstrong.com. .com/courses.
Got you. Cool. All right. Work Door's wrapping up, man. Where can people find you?
Instagram at Mario Armstrong. Clubhouse, Mario Armstrong. YouTube, Never Settle Network. Check that because that's where we're going to be dropping this new season, along with some other distribution partners that we haven't been able to announce just yet. But you can definitely catch it there. And I would say Instagram is where I do a lot of free content, a lot of mentorship in the DMs. So if any of you have questions, hit me in the DM and IG, but follow me there for sure, and then follow that YouTube channel.
Yeah. One thing before we go, I just want to say thank you on air, man. You know, I really appreciate you coming on the show. You know, just coming straight off a DM, off the strength of a DM. You know, it's crazy how powerful.
The power of a DM, bro.
You know
honestly.
Yo,
see, this
reach
is what
out.
I mean, right? This is what I mean. Like, shoot the shot. Like,
shoot your shot.
Like, you know, but you guys did it correctly. You also really, you really did it in a way that was like thoughtful, that gave me an understanding of how you approach the professionalism of what it is that you're doing, the vision that you have. So you can read a lot. Now I'm like, now I know the science of DMs. Like I can tell, like, hey Mario, when can I get a few minutes to pick your brain? I'm like, come on, fam, you got to come harder than that. Like, I want to help you, but you got to come harder than that. Like, you got to show me you at least did 10 minutes of research, and there's something specific that you think I can help you with.
That's a fact.
Like,
that's a fact.
So y'all were specific. Y'all
reached
reached out. It was a specific request. It made sense. I clicked one link. I'm like, they're legit. Let's do this.
Bet.
It's good hearing that feedback. Yeah?
Yo, I'm here like low-key in my mind. I'm like, let's go there.
but you're just keeping it cool, right? You're like, yeah, great.
Hey, look, and then I knew it was for real when you all did the pre-interview.
Oh, yeah,
I hate,
for sure.
I hate pre-interviews. I don't want to do
them.
I don't want to do them.
That.
I don't want to do them. I'm seasoned. I'm a vet at this. I don't want to do that. Like I'm saying that right, and my battery almost went out on the computer. I'm a seasoned vet at this. Like, come on, like, but I respect how important it is to make sure technical works, to make sure we get a chance to vibe before we actually show up. You all even asked me, did you listen to the show? Woo! If you didn't, then that would put a little pressure on the guest to be like, I better listen, because what am I missing? But that also signals to me, like, y'all are actually serious. You want people to get immersed in the flow and the vibe and the energy of what it is you're putting out there so that you have the best experience possible for your listeners. That's what that indicates to me. All that. So somebody that's seasoned is going to recognize all those little nuances and be like, all right, man, I got to show up for this pre-screen because they asked for it. All right, let's do this pre-interview because they asked for it. Like they really about this life. They really try to make this quality podcast. All right. But here's the thing, right? We do it on our show. so and when it's on the other side, I know how important it is. I know how
Yeah.
important it is. I'm getting them this. No, we need you to, when we go live, I'm going to need you to sit back. You know, when we come back on here tomorrow or next week, I'm going to need you to like position yourself better, move that camera this. My producers, you know, telling them what to do. Like, so I know how important it is. So I respect that. And I appreciate you guys for doing that because it shows the level of professionalism with the quality. So Bel Air Rose, you hearing all this? You hearing all this? These guys are pros at this. They're making this thing happen. They got the vision. Let's pop more bottles. Let's go, Bel Air Rose. Let's go. Let's pop more bottles.
Let's go.
Mario, I popped a bottle so hard, man. My ceiling still has like the marks from the rose still up
Take a
there.
picture of that one day, man.
Oh my god, that's how we're popping these bottles, Mario, man. You know
Anyways, though, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the show. The hustle is what you can control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
And I'm Owen.
Yo, I'm Mario. Hustle over everything. And by the way, 2-time Emmy Award winner Mario Armstrong here in the flesh telling you you're listening right now. You're checking out Alex and Owen on Hustle Over Everything. Let's get it.
Bow.
Bang, bang. Peace out, guys.
Use that as a clip.
Thank you so much for listening. The conversation continues on our Instagram at 247hustler. We post very frequently. And be sure to check out our merch at hustleovereverything.co. We have some amazing sweaters, hats, mugs, and a lot more. Lastly, our Proud to Pay program is linked in the description below. Thank you so much for your support. Talk to you next Monday. Peace.